welcome to NANOG 93 in Atlanta. For those of you who are new, I know we've got a mixture of folks who are new and some who have been affiliated with NANOG for quite a while in the room. For those who haven't been before, Atlanta actually has a little bit of history with NANOG. There was a NANOG a few years ago where a nice snowstorm came through Atlanta while we were having the conference here, and people got to spend extra days they hadn't intended here in NANOG. So I'm sure throughout the week you're going to hear some of the people who were at that meeting reminiscing about having attended NANOG here in Atlanta. So we'll talk a little bit getting started here about what a NOG is in general. So the acronym NOG, if you didn't know, stands for Network Operators Group. And the idea behind a network operators group is to have an open exchange of knowledge and ideas with people who have a similar job function that you do, right? People who run networks, operate networks, have similar challenges. Maybe they've been there, done that before, whether it comes with figuring out what the right optics are to run in their data center, how to handle dealing with a certain vendor's TAC and getting your cases addressed more quickly. There's all kinds of questions and collaboration that can take place when you have a NOG, when you have a meeting like this where people who are running networks get together, collaborate, and share ideas. You know, if I think about it from an even higher level, like why would we even do that? It's about improving the quality and availability of the internet and of the networks that we're all responsible for, right? Being able to share best practices and overall being able to improve the quality of the networks that we run. So what is special about NOGs beyond what I just mentioned? I think it basically comes down to three things, right? They're neutral. So there are plenty of other industry events that you could attend that are run by one particular vendor, and you'll probably learn great things there. There's nothing wrong with those. In fact, I encourage you to go and check those out. But the thing that makes NOGs special is that they're neutral, right? So they're not controlled and run by any one vendor. They're non-commercial, non-political, based on the quality of the content that's submitted. And we'll talk a little bit about how the content here at NANOG is formed in a minute. They're very educational in nature, right? So all the presentations that are delivered here at NANOG and at other NOGs are made freely available. Most of them are posted on their website. The talks are typically put out on YouTube, so you can go back and review anything that you miss. And they're community driven. So again, it's not any one corporation, any one vendor that's running it. It's a community run thing. So the individuals, they may be employed by those vendors, but the individuals are the ones who are actually contributing to those conversations and to those presentations. All right, so specifically to NANOG, the North America Network Operators Group, it was founded back in 1987 by Merit Networks, which if you're not familiar with Merit, they're the educational and research network for the state of Michigan. So they were tasked by the NSF net to create a NOG, like I just talked about, an operators group where people could come together. Of course, in the 80s, networks were just getting, IP networks, I guess specifically, were just starting to take off. The internet was just starting to take off. And so they realized that, hey, it's really important for people who are in this industry and who are doing these things to collaborate with one another. The internet doesn't work without collaboration, so we need an organization that can share these ideas. And so NANOG itself created its original charter back in 1994. And then in 2011, it actually became its own organization, standalone from Merit, and is now today its own standalone organization. Within this NANOG community, there's about 13,000, maybe a little over that, industry professionals and students that participate in NANOG in one way, shape, or form. Depending on the meeting, the attendance can vary. I think when I looked this morning, there were about 750, 775, somewhere in that range, that are registered in person for this NANOG. The attendance varies, but it's a good size attendee that we have for NANOGs. Of those, usually around 150 or so are first-time attendees. So we are attracting new people to come to NANOG, but obviously we would love to see even more first-time attendees. So as you learn, as you collaborate throughout the week, if you get you will get something out of this. As you get things out of this, take it back to work, take it back to your colleagues, encourage them to come out and check out the next NANOG that we have. Of the attendees, 600 plus of them are NANOG members, and I'll talk a little bit in a minute about what membership actually means, but there is a membership component to NANOG, so about 600, a little over 600 people are members of NANOG. And while it is North America Network Operators Group, so we do focus on running and building and collaborating about networks that are headquartered in North America. The internet's a global thing, right? So there are 20 plus countries around the world that are represented at NANOG. So there will be attendees this week from a lot of different countries, not just North America, as the name might imply. All right, so what does NANOG do? Again, it's about collaboration, specifically around the internet infrastructure and specifically in North America. One of the ways in which we do that is by mentoring the next generation of network professionals. That's why we have this morning newcomer session. That's why we're encouraged and always encouraging new people to come out, check it out, be involved in the community. We want to mentor the next generation of networking professionals. You know, I know for me personally, I'm getting a little older, been doing this for a while. At some point, I'm going to retire, and we're going to need the next generation of folks to be involved and kind of carry the baton forward, continue to run the internet for all of us. So that's part of the goal of what NANOG is doing, is trying to just encourage young professionals, people who are starting off in their career, to get involved and collaborate in NANOG the way that those of us who've been doing this for a number of years have. We also actively encourage diversity, inclusion, and collaboration within our community. So we want to be open to everyone. We want everyone to feel encouraged and welcome here within this community. And we'll talk a little bit about that throughout the slide deck as well. All right, so next we'll talk a little bit about how the governance of NANOG is run. So at the high level, the NANOG has a board of directors. If you are on the NANOG board of directors, if your face is on this slide, can you stand up so people can see you in the room? Looks like Kat and Jonathan are here, Elizabeth's over here. So the board of directors is elected by the membership to oversee the overall running of NANOG itself. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a future slide. NANOG staff, Jonathan already stood up, so I won't make him stand up again. Is there anyone else from the staff that's in the room? All right, well, these are the full-time staff that NANOG employs. They help put on the NANOG program itself. They help with a lot of the organization, slide deck design. Val helps me get this slide deck together every time we do one of these NANOGs, so I really greatly appreciate her help with all that. So they're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work to put on these NANOG events. So if you see one of these people throughout the next few days, stop them, thank them for their hard work in putting this on, because this couldn't happen without the effort and help of these folks. Like I said, NANOG also has a volunteer aspect to it, so there are a lot of people that are working to help keep NANOG running. There's a lot of committees that are looking for volunteers. The program committee, we'll talk about a little bit more about that. They're the ones that are actually putting on the program that you're going to see over the next 3 days. There's an audit committee that audits the financials for NANOG. There's a community engagement committee. As I mentioned, one of the goals of NANOG is to be welcoming to all people from all walks of life, and so the community engagement committee is tasked with that charter, that goal. Compensation committee, elections committee, hackathon committee, mentorship committee. I didn't introduce myself, I guess, when I started, but that's what I do. I'm part of the mentorship committee. We are, as I mentioned on one of the previous slides, one of NANOG's goals is to mentor the next generation of networking professionals, and so we run a program to pair up mentors and mentees with one another, so that people that are looking for some mentorship maybe looking to grow in their career, looking to get more involved in the industry, can get paired up with someone who has been there and done that before that can help give them some guidance and some expertise. We also run an ambassador program, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is part of the mentorship committee. And then we have two new committees that we added recently, a moderation committee that moderates a mailing alias and Discord channel, which we'll talk about, that are ways you can get involved with NANOG online. So they moderate that to make sure that it's staying on topic. It's again, welcoming and open to everyone who's involved in the industry. And then a workshop committee. We'll talk a little bit about the program here in a minute, but one of the things that NANOG is really trying to focus on is some hands-on workshop style learning. I don't know how many of you are like me. I learn much better when I can get my hands on the keyboard and actually apply what I have heard someone talk about. And so having these workshops really helps with that knowledge sinking in, and that's what the workshop committee does. They put those on. All right, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit more about the program committee. You'll see it abbreviated PC throughout some of NANOG's materials. These people are nominated by the members, so those who join and become members of NANOG have the right to vote, to nominate and vote for who they want to be. To nominate who they want to be on the program committee, and then the board actually selects from those nominations who they think would make the best members of the program committee. These are industry professionals like yourselves that are volunteering their time and their expertise to curate and put on the program that you're going to see over the next 3 days. Once the PC is formed, they elect a chair for that particular committee. That person is an ex officio member of the board of directors. So when I showed the board of directors slide, you'll notice one of the people that was on the board is actually the chair of the program committee, Steve. The PC then reviews and selects talks from all of those submissions and decides what is going to make the cut, what they want to have those people come and present at NANOG. And then they also work with them to curate those talks. So maybe the first draft is pretty good, but they have some advice for the presenter that'll help make it more relevant to the audience that they know is going to come and listen to that talk at NANOG. So they'll do what they call shepherding that talk, where they work with that person, help maybe improve it, maybe change a few things to make it as high quality as possible and relevant for those of you who are here this week to listen to those talks. Some additional responsibilities for the PC. They recruit keynote speakers. So we have a couple great keynote speakers this week that I'm really excited to hear. The first one kicks off at 10:15 this morning, right after the opening session. So go check that out. They also will recruit lightning talks. So these are just real quick 5 to 10 minute talks, typically written on site. They're definitely submitted on site. The goal of these is, if somebody has like maybe an idea that they just want to toss out there so that people are aware they're thinking about something, working on something because they're looking for feedback, these make great topics to just kind of tease out an idea. Obviously in 5 to 10 minutes, you're not going to be able to get really deep into a topic, but just being able to kind of set the stage, set the tone for something that somebody's working on, thinking about. Those are really great ways to do that. You'll see that some of the talks are actually organized into tracks. They make sense to be in a track. Maybe it's security related, maybe it's peering and interconnection related. So some of the talks are organized into larger blocks. As I mentioned, there's a workshop component. So you'll see those on the agenda with a little workshop tag on them. So those are hands-on learning exercises. So you'll know how those are separate from someone just standing up and delivering a talk. And then, like I mentioned, all the presentation that is put on throughout the next 3 days is organized and put on by the program committee. All right, so beyond what we've already talked about to this point, there's a few other resources that are available to NANOG attendees. One is the mentorship program, like I mentioned. So the mentorship program is a number of mentors that are career professionals that are giving back their time to meet with mentees who are interested in advancing their career, getting more involved, getting some advice in their career. So if you're interested in becoming a mentor or a mentee, either side of that equation, you can go out to the NANOG webpage, and there's a landing page there that you can sign up for that program. Or you can come find me, and I can get you started with that as well. So some other ways that you can get involved in NANOG on a broader scale. If you sign up to be a member, then you'll have the ability to vote. So like I said, our board of directors is voted on by the membership. So being able to vote kind of helps decide who the board of directors is, which kind of sets the direction for NANOG. Like I said, becoming a mentor, that'll help you get more involved. Present. So the program committee is always looking for new talks, new ideas. So if you have something that you're working on, something that you think your knowledge and expertise and experience with a certain topic could be useful to the broader audience that attends NANOG, please submit a talk, submit your ideas. Like I said, it doesn't have to be completely fully baked. The program committee can work with you to improve on maybe you just have a general outline, some ideas, but you need some help kind of thinking it through and making sure that it's relevant for this audience. They can help you with that. Volunteer. So like I mentioned, there are a lot of different committees. There's a lot of opportunities for volunteers. NANOG's always in need of people to donate their time, to give back, to help run the organization. So if you have a particular skill or a particular area of expertise you think you might be able to help, sign up to volunteer. You do have to become a member in order to volunteer on one of the committees. And then finally, sponsorship. So NANOG is always, like I said, we're open. We're not run by any one vendor, but that does mean we need sponsorships in order to pay for and run the organization. So if you work for an organization that through your marketing efforts or through other efforts sponsors industry organizations, NANOG's always looking for additional sponsors for the events. So you can see one of the staff members, one of the board members, they can tell you a little bit more about how to get involved with sponsorship. So in addition to participating in the meeting this week, there are ways that you can be involved in NANOG outside of the meeting itself. The first and probably the most well-known is the NANOG mailing alias. So the link is here, but you can go out to the NANOG website as well and sign up for the mailing alias. That allows you to talk with other folks who have similar job functions. Again, similar to the meeting, in a virtual format, allows you to talk with other people who might be having the same type of problems that you're having, struggling with the same things that you're struggling with, and you can give each other advice on that. All the presentations, tutorials, unless otherwise marked on the agenda this week, will be recorded and posted online. All the ones from previous NANOGs are out there, so if you go out to the NANOG YouTube channel at this link, or just go to YouTube and search for NANOG, you'll be able to see all the previous talks and see what's been presented and learn from those talks. NANOG has a blog where they post various stories. You can check that out. And then there are a few other additional resources on the NANOG website. The mentorship program, like I mentioned, you can go out to this link and sign up to be either a mentor or a mentee. And then the final one I'll mention is NANOG has a Discord server. So if you want to be able to participate a little bit more real time, you can go and sign up for that Discord server. There are various channels, including one specific for this meeting. So if you have questions or you want to collaborate online with some of the folks who are here attending this week, you can go out and sign up for that Discord channel, Discord server. All right, specific to NANOG 93 here in Atlanta. I teased this a minute ago, but we have an ambassador program. So you will see people walking around this week with a little purple NANOG ambassador ribbon on their badge, like you see here on Vince's badge. If you have a question that maybe wasn't clear, you're not quite sure how NANOG works, you're not sure where you need to go, you're not sure how to get the most out of your time here at NANOG, find one of these people. They'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Find one of those people. They will, or any of the, before I go on, or any of the ambassadors in the room, if you would stand up, that way a couple people can find you. Yeah, we got quite a few in here. So these are the people you're looking for. Plus, I know there are quite a few more who couldn't make it in here. All right, similar to that, we are going to be running a Q&A session at the end of day one. I know that in this presentation, I've thrown a lot at you, and throughout the day today, there's going to be a lot of information kind of coming at you quickly. So if you don't have questions now, but after participating today and sitting through some talks, you come up with questions that you want to ask, we will be holding a Q&A session in A705, which I believe would be across the hallway if I'm not mistaken. But A705 here on this level, right here in this area. And that, I checked the agenda to keep me honest on this, but I think it's from 5 to 6 p.m. But double check the agenda to make sure that that's the right time. I don't have it here on the slide, but it will be at the end of the day. Jonathan says yes, 5 to 6. During that session, you can come and ask your questions one-on-one. We will have some of the ambassadors here that can answer those questions. It doesn't have to be a formal thing. If you just want to meet some of the ambassadors, you can come and say hi and meet some people. We can keep it informal as well. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to submit your questions in advance or anything like that. So, all right, a little bit more about this week's program. Again, everything that we're going to be talking about is going to be out on the NANOG agenda. You should have received an email this morning with today's agenda. At any time, you can go out to nanog.org/agenda and see the agenda of talks, workshops, lightning talks, everything that's going on. Kind of a pro tip that I figured out a few years ago is if you scroll to the bottom, there's actually a floor plan. So you can actually see what the layout here at the Marriott Marquis looks like, so you can figure out where are all these rooms that are on the agenda? How do I find my way around here? That's really helpful. And then the other thing is you can mark anything that sounds interesting to you with a little heart next to the talk, and then you can export it to your calendar. That way you don't forget where you wanted to be and what you wanted to hear about. Makes it easier to kind of set your own personal agenda of what you're really interested in and want to make sure you're in the right place at the right time to hear that particular talk. Workshops, we have 2 of those going on through this week. They, again, are hands-on learning, a combination of discussions and questions, as well as doing a hands-on lab exercise so that you can really have that knowledge sink in around these 2 particular topics. So tomorrow at 1:30, and again, double check these on the agenda to make sure nothing changed since I put my slide together, but when I put the slide together tomorrow, Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. In this room, actually, getting started with network automation. And then on Wednesday at 2 p.m., again here in this room, there's going to be a Container Lab hands-on workshop. So if any of you have not played with Container Lab, I highly recommend that. It's a great way. I can remember early in my career how hard it was to mock up a network or to get my hands on a particular OS to learn. Container Lab has made it so easy to spin up virtual topologies and get your hands on networking topologies, and that'll be a great lab to sit through. And it's actually a 2-part one. So the first part starts at 2, and then they'll have a break, and then they'll have a second section. All right, another thing that's going on throughout the week is a hackathon. Similar to a workshop, except this one's more of a challenge, right? So the people are divided up into teams. The teams are working on various different challenges, competing against one another to win a Raspberry Pi. The winner will be announced at the end of the NANOG 93 on Wednesday and during the closing remarks, or I think right before the closing remarks. The teams are They did have a sign up, I think, and kicked it off either yesterday or Friday, but there's still time today if you're interested in that to go out to NANOG's website, sign up for the hackathon, get connected with your team, and start working on that. There will be hackathon mentors that'll be around throughout the week. There'll be a table set up where you can come if you have questions, you need a little help, a little bit of guidance. You can find those folks and get unstuck, if you will. All right, NANOG Social. So there's opportunities. One of the best benefits that I think, in addition to the great content that's put on by the program committee, one of the best benefits I think from attending NANOGs is collaboration with other folks, right? Getting to know other people in the industry that are sharing similar challenges that you are, learn from their experiences. And so there's a lot of opportunities for that throughout the week. There will be a networking lunch, so the lunch that's provided by NANOG today. You can network there at that lunch. If you're a peering coordinator, if you do peering for your particular organization, there is a peering coordinators forum that will run this afternoon. And then this evening, there is a NANOG social that's being put on. Make sure to bring your badge with you to the social, even though it's an after hours thing. That's how they admit people. Plus, just makes it easier to put a name to a face if you're wearing your name tag. So make sure to bring your badge to all of these events. Tomorrow, there will be a DE&I lunch. And what that means is when you come into lunch tomorrow, there will be tabletop topics. You can find a topic that you like. Could be related to sports, could be related to art. There's all kinds of different topics related to hobbies, related to networking topics. So there'll be all type of different topics. So find something that you're interested in. You want to meet other people who are interested in that same thing. Just strike up a conversation. It's really just there to get people talking to the other people sitting at the table instead of just sitting there and staring at your food while you eat. So that will be going on tomorrow. And then my personal favorite event that goes on at NANOG is what we call Beer and Gear. So tomorrow afternoon, there will be Beer and Gear, which is essentially what you see here on the slide. It's a room with a bunch of people. Beer and other beverages will be served, and a lot of the vendors will come talk about their latest, whether it's hardware, software, whatever it is that they have been developing. So it's a good way to go and hear a little bit from the vendors, but also collaborate with your peers, share a few beverages if that's your thing. So definitely check that out. That's a great event. Wednesday, just one thing to note, NANOG does not provide a lunch on Wednesdays. We encourage you to grab some of the folks that you have met throughout the week on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday morning and go out to lunch together, right? Get out of the building, go check out a little bit of Atlanta, grab some lunch, and then come back for the final topics Wednesday afternoon. Just a reminder, all of you, when you signed up for NANOG, signed that you would obey by the NANOG Code of Conduct. Again, like I said, NANOG wants to be an open and welcoming community, so we want to make sure we're acting in a professional and courteous manner to all of those who are attending. So if you need a reference, the Code of Conduct is here. The link is here on the slide. NANOG also provides ombuds that are here for support for NANOG. So if you have some mental health things, you need to talk with somebody, there are people who are available. You can send an email to this email alias and they will get back with you. Or you can find either one of these folks. Future was in the room. Is she still here somewhere? Future's right here back in the room. I think that's Terry sitting next to her if I see him. So they are there in the back of the room. So feel free to leverage them if you need someone to talk to. All right, final thing here, surveys. Surveys are very important for NANOG to know what you like, what you didn't like, what we can improve upon. Throughout the whole presentation, I've mentioned one of the goals is to make this as useful for everyone who attends, make sure the talks are high quality, that you're getting the most out of the time that you invest coming to a NANOG. So the only way we can know that, we're not mind readers, is for you to fill out the survey. So please fill out the surveys. Let us know what talks you liked, what talks maybe you didn't care as much for, maybe how they could be improved, right? How could our presenters have done a better job of presenting that material? How, what can we do better to make this as high value for you to attend? They will close out on Friday, so if you don't get it done, I know it's going to be a busy 3 days trying to take in all this material, take in the networking opportunities and so forth. So if you don't get it done by Wednesday, that's fine. Set yourself a reminder, get it done by Friday, get that information in, and we'll be able to improve the quality of the NANOG program. All right, and with that, I am done. We have about, looks like 12 and a half minutes left on the timer, so if anybody wants to ask any questions, feel free. There's a microphone here in the middle of the room. All right,
Please go to the mic.
Yeah, please go to the mic if you would. Just we have.
Tell them about the nice clothes.
It's on that, isn't it? There is a mic protocol for NANOG, so if you would just state your name and your company affiliation, just so that folks know what organization you're with.
Can everybody hear me? Oh, there we go. Okay, Matt Cantrell, Comporium over in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Didn't have to travel too far. Keep the questions brief. Fuck, I was going to give a lecture here. No, I just saw real briefly, there was a community service committee. I just wanted to know what kind of community service NANOG does and is involved in. Is it local? Is it national? How does that work?
Is there anyone in the room that can answer that question? I'm not sure on the answer on that one. Community engagement.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, the community engagement. Yeah. So that we used to call it the DE&I committee, but it's about welcoming people from diverse backgrounds. Absolutely. And making sure that they feel welcome and included here. And so we, I think over the last few months or last few NANOGs have decided that community engagement made more sense for the title for that committee. So it's just been renamed. But that's the goal of that, is to just get the community involved in NANOG itself. It's less about us doing involvement in the community.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, brother.
Yep. All right, well, I know that it can be intimidating to walk up to a microphone your first time attending a NANOG and ask a question. So that's what the ambassadors are here for. So if you have a question, you don't want to come to the microphone now, or you think of it later, feel free to find one of the ambassadors, pull them aside. We're happy to answer any question that you may have. And I will give you an extra 10 minutes back in your Monday to get prepared for the kickoff. It'll be at 10 a.m., so we'll see all of you there.